Gratitude Seekers, and welcome to a new episode of the Gratitude Podcast. Today, I have with me a fellow podcaster that has reached 1 million downloads in over 140 countries. His name is Aditya Jaykumar, also known as AJ, and he is the founder and host of the top-ranked podcast called My Seven Chakras. He is originally from the country of Yoga, India, and his goal is of his show is to dive into the ancient world to uncover nuggets of wisdom that will help you lead a life of purpose and fulfillment. He believes that knowledge is only potential power, as I do too, and that real transformation occurs when you take action and apply what you've learned. That's why his listeners are called action takers, and his global community is called Action Tribe. Welcome, AJ, and please say a few more words about yourself.
Sure. So first of all, thanks a lot, Georgian, for having me on the show. Love the theme, gratitude, such an important and powerful concept to have and to incorporate into your day-to-day life. So yeah, just like you've shared, I host a show called My Seven Chakras, which is all about looking into the past, because whether it's the Indian tradition, Chinese tradition, so many different traditions, we've had so many seers and healers over the years discover new ways of thinking, new ways of living. And to me, I found that really interesting. But I didn't want this journey to be just myself. I just didn't want to maybe read a book and do a course by myself. I wanted to include people on this journey. And I saw the internet as such a wonderful tool, especially podcasting, as a way to have these interesting conversations with people who have dedicated their lives to learning how we can transform our lives using ancient wisdom. And that's how I started the podcast. And I'm really excited and happy to be here to share my journey and reasons why I'm grateful.
That's wonderful. What my fellow gratitude seekers don't know or didn't know is that I am practicing yoga for several years. So
yeah.
I know a few things about chakras and about all kinds of stuff, because I'm very interested in this kind of knowledge as well. And also about practicing, because theory is good, but if we're not practicing, we won't get so many benefits that we can get. And I love your story about how you got started. If you want to share a bit about it.
Sure. So I came to Canada about 2.5 years back. I'm initially from Mumbai, and that was a big decision for me, moving to another country. And as you might, agree, making that change is big. So 2.5 years back, shifted to Canada, wanted to pursue an MBA, and I've been wanting to do that for many years. Made the change. But during the first few months, I did face some challenges, difference in culture, full-time program of the MBA, and I had a lot of financial challenges as well. And so during those months, I because of those restrictions, I couldn't really hang out with a lot of people outdoors, maybe go to parties or whatnot. And I thought to myself, what can I do with my time? What can I do with my spare time? And so it started the spiral of reaching out, going to workshops, meeting like-minded people, learning what business is all about, and sort of starting this podcast where I actually get to speak with and interact with people in this space, in energy healing, mindfulness, meditation, yoga, qigong, and all these amazing topics, and have this conversation. So that's how it all started for me. Just meeting people, and in the process, like they say, you are the average of the 5 people that you hang out with. I got to meet really interesting people and do what I'm doing right now. So
that's wonderful. It's such an interesting thing, this world. Like, it's so much smaller right now. Being able to go from India to Canada and to bring the wisdom from there and to share it with the world and to bring new things to surface. It's wonderful. I know many things that are already known very well in yoga. For
Yes.
instance, are now uncovered by scientists, and they find out that in fact they find out things that people 5,000 years ago already knew actually.
Yes.
um, and it's really interesting to uncover that, and I think you're doing a great job with this.
Absolutely. Thanks. Just to add, you're absolutely right. The ancient sages and seers and yogis knew without a doubt what science is just finding out right now. And one thing that I'm so focused on my show is realizing and proving that we are, as individuals, are not human beings having a spiritual experience, but spiritual beings having a human experience. We're not just physical bodies that, it might seem, but the physical body is just a blueprint of energetic bodies around our human body. And so, we were talking about gratitude today. If you learn about the auras, or if you can see the aura, you would realize that the thought forms affect the emotions affect the aura around you, and ultimately, if you don't do something about the negative thoughts or the overwhelm or the stress, that leads to a physical manifestation of a disease or an illness. So everything starts from the thought and the emotions that you're feeling, and that's why gratitude, I feel, is so powerful to feel and to spread also, because once you are grateful, it spreads across the room or to the person that you're interacting with. So
Exactly. It's really funny. Just recently, I interviewed a multimillionaire, Adam Urbanski, and
okay.
what he said that the most interesting thing about gratitude for him was the fact that people around him
Yeah.
were much happier when he was grateful, because he was such much more of a better person. So that's really
Yeah.
interesting as a side effect. But Aditya, what does gratitude mean for you?
To me, gratitude is taking a moment to be mindful and recognizing the gifts, the people, the moments, the privileges, the opportunities that already are with me, are within me. And so many times, like we were discussing earlier, we're all, many of us are entrepreneurs or high performing individuals. We always have this goal that we want to achieve in our life. And sometimes, in a bit of doing that, we forget our journey. We forget to be mindful and coming back to the here and now. And when things go bad, when things don't work out as planned, all we need to do is come to the moment and realize, hey, you know what? I have so many gifts with me. I have so many people who love me, know, like, and trust me. And that is, to me, is gratitude. Just stepping into the moment and realizing the gifts that you have.
Exactly. Many times I do this as well when life gets stressed out and it
Yeah.
gets well, when I am stressed out, actually, not life.
Yeah.
um, I realize that so many of the things that I once wished I would
Yes.
be able to live, I'm now
Yeah.
living, and
Exactly.
because I got used to them, it's like I just can't see them anymore. And taking that time to realize that is so wonderful.
Absolutely. And sometimes when you go to a relative's home who you've met after many years, you don't realize because you're seeing yourself every day, but they will look at you and say, wow, you've changed. You're so positive, or you're such a good communicator, or you're so nice. So people tend to notice it
That's
after many
so,
years.
yeah, that's so awesome. It's like with children. If you see your child every day, you
Yeah.
can see that he or she is growing. But if you see someone like a relative's child or something, um, in 2 years, you see, oh my God, there's so much growth.
You shot up just like that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Um, but I know for a fact from scientific evidence that we are kind of wired to focus on the threats,
Yes.
on what's not going well in our lives, because we need to focus energy there to solve it or to
Yeah.
be aware of it. Um,
Yes.
what does spirituality? What is spirituality's take on this?
uh, spirituality's take on the fact that the industry and the media is playing on our sense of fear?
Yeah, so the thing is like this. We tend as human beings, as mammals,
Yeah,
uh, we are wired this way in order for us to survive
yeah,
and to focus on the negatives. And
yeah,
I know that there are scientific studies that
yeah,
say that we can rewire this. So
yeah,
in our brain, we can,
yeah,
if we develop a habit of being grateful,
yeah,
that will rewire our brain, and that will make so much more sense for us to live with gratitude, because um, it creates new neural pathways. And I'm
yeah,
curious if you came up um, in your interviews and in your studies to something that's similar to this, but it's on a deeper level, not just physical.
yeah. I mean, first of all, I love that you mentioned that, and you suggested that even though we've evolved, for thousands of years, at a certain point we're still caveman or cavewoman. I was there thousands of years back, and as that caveman or cavewoman used to go hunting, the brain was trained to look out for that saber-toothed tiger or that elephant that was going to destroy it, right? And so
Exactly.
we're always, a mind is there's an ancient part, or the reptilian part of our mind is always looking for things that are a threat to us, or that might kill us, or that might destroy us. And so what we're noticing is even the news plays on fear. They talk about deaths and murders and explosions, and even a lot of companies that market their products play on the fear of losing, fear of whatever. And so because of the growth of and the evolution of the internet, because everything is so close now, something that happened in Mauritius in the middle of the Pacific Indian Ocean, if it comes on social media, that has the same effect on you as if you were in Mauritius itself. So completely agree. And it's all about training your mind to realize that there is no physical danger to you. And
Mm-hmm.
reading these books about how you can shift your focus, because bottom line is it's about your focus, right? When you change the way you look at things, the things that you look at begin to change as well. That's a Wayne Dyer quote. Even according to ancient tradition, Chinese tradition, it says energy flows where the focus goes. So if you're focusing on the news feeds, if you're focusing on fake Facebook and news, you're bound to feel those emotions, those emotional reactions, as if you were a part of that explosion. Or now it's not good to have devastation and disaster that's happening right now, and a lot of things have to change. But small changes that you can make on a daily basis, like focusing on the positive, maintaining a gratitude journal, maintaining a diary, ensuring that you are meeting with positive, like-minded people who will uplift you. Those things can, like you've suggested, change your brain chemistry, create new neural pathways, and really transform your life. Because at the end of the day, it's all about the mind. The moment you realize that the only thing that's stopping you is your belief of whether what you want is possible or no, once you realize that it's in the mind, everything shifts. So absolutely right. It's all about making those small changes every day until it becomes a habit.
Exactly, because um, we are bombarded by all
Yeah,
kinds of negative things and negative news, and um, it's our duty to do something about it and to shift that, because otherwise we could do this all day. We could see the everything that's going bad, and uh,
yeah,
the interesting thing is that one part of us feels good in a weird way, because it feels like it's protecting it's protecting us. So if you know everything that's going bad in the world, you feel safe somehow. You see, you feel safer in a weird way, but actually you're very fearful. And when you're fearful, it's really hard to be grateful, actually.
absolutely. Absolutely. And like you mentioned, it's just about being aware. That's there are these narratives that are playing in the background. There are these news companies that are trying to play on your fears. There are these companies that are trying to play on your fears. Just being aware and being conscious of that, half your job is over, because now you know that this exists, and now you know that you need to focus on what will take you to the next level, what will take you towards your goals. And that's the difference. A lot of people are not even aware that this is happening in the background. So even
Precisely, precisely. And the thing is that it takes a lot of your energy, of your focus,
yeah,
and when that happens, you can't feel grateful. You can't make gratitude more of a habit and experience the joys that gratitude can bring. But on this, do you have a certain quote on gratitude that you love?
yeah. There are so many quotes on gratitude, right? There's so many amazing quotes that have been written by authors and seers. One of my quotes that I absolutely love is actually an ancient, I think, Persian proverb. It's been associated, or uh, you know, it's sort of anonymous, but it goes like this: I cried when I had no shoes until I met a person who had no feet. you know and what it really teaches me is that a lot of times we have challenges, we have problems, we have troubles, we've been cheated, something did not go as expected. And um, it's true. I mean, nobody can deny that challenges come in our life. But when we take a moment to really take a couple of steps back and look at things from a broader picture, everything's relative, right? And so you realize that the problem that you're facing, there is someone across the world, maybe across the city, across the building, who's facing a problem that's 5 times or 10 times as big as the problem that you're facing. Now, this does two things. Firstly, uh, it helps us make sense of the challenges that we have in our life. It helps us feel better immediately. And second, it helps us know that whatever problem that is there in our life, it is possible to transform it. It changes everything once we just have that perspective that yes, there are bigger problems in the world and people have really overcome them.
Yeah, I so agree with this because you get to get your power back actually,
Yeah,
and once you're grateful for the fact that um, you get to have the power to solve the problem, and that other people are having even bigger challenges and they somehow manage to overcome them. It puts things into perspective, and you realize that you can actually do it yourself, and you can do it from a totally different state, which is so important.
it's powerful.
um, but you know, like we talked in the beginning, life can get hard sometimes, and it can get really stressful. And I'm thinking that you might have a way of dealing with these situations. And my question is, what do you do when it's hard to be grateful?
I think that's a wonderful question. And irrespective of how experienced a person is with gratefulness or with meditation, that happens to everyone. There are some times when things are so bad or so challenging, it's hard to be grateful. And for me, what I've realized is when I face this circumstance where it's hard to be grateful, it's usually because I'm thinking about gratitude. I'm thinking and trying to change my thoughts towards being grateful. And sometimes it's just not possible. Now, what I've realized is that the mind, body, and breathing, the breath, are connected in ways that we don't even understand right now. We've just sort of hit the tip of the iceberg, but it's connected in a very intricate way. And so there's a technique that is connected to uh, uh, to these three aspects that sort of helps me come to a state of gratefulness. So when it's hard for me to think about gratefulness, I ask myself three questions, and this is called the intentional corrections. Three intentional corrections. One is, how's your posture? A lot of times when we are feeling ungrateful, it's usually because you'll notice in your body that you're slouching, or maybe your weight is on just one foot, or maybe there's a frown in your face, or maybe you're not smiling. So once you think about your posture, you correct it. You move your shoulders backwards. You rebalance yourself. You smile. Uh, the first step is done. The second step is, what is your breathing like? Again, when you're ungrateful, it's usually because you're getting like a half breath. You're not breathing properly. You take multiple breaths in, like fill your entire stomach out, and do that about 5 to 7 times in and out. You automatically feel a surge of energy because your blood has got the required oxygen that was missing, that is creating that negative emotion. That's the second step. Now, third step is, what are my thoughts? Now, at this point, it comes more naturally, gratefulness, because your body and your breath has been taken care of. In certain situations, even now, it might be difficult to be grateful. And so I've realized that at this point, it's usually because I am afraid, or I have a fear about something related to the past, or I'm afraid that something might not happen the way I intended to in the future, or there's some
Mm.
worry, or somebody betrayed me in the past, or I fear that somebody will not work according to what I think about in the future. So it's usually because I'm thinking about the future or the past. And so at this point, what you need to do is just come back to the here and now, because that's where the power really resides. It's the here and now. And think about your your heart. Your heart is beating without your pressing a button in the morning. It's automatic. Your skin is letting you feel things. You're able to see clearly in most cases, and you're able to smell things. And so you realize these senses that you have, that you've been taken for granted, are already within you. And as soon as you do that, you follow these 3 steps. I feel grateful once again. So it used to be a step-by-step process initially, but now it's become more internalized, so to speak, for me.
That's very, very interesting and very useful, because we can do that like anywhere we are actually, and we don't need to be in a certain place. Like when it comes to meditating, you need a bit of privacy, you need a bit
Yeah.
of uh, private space so you can do that. I think meditating helps a lot also,
Yeah.
but the breathing you can do everywhere, and it's really interesting for me, as I've studied yoga and pranayama. I think it's in English, right?
Yeah.
Um, it's really amazing how it can shift your thoughts and it can clear your mind,
Yeah.
and it's wonderful to experience. So if you haven't tried this, gratitude seekers, do try it. It's amazing, really. It can, even if you're like thinking, oh, how can it help me? It's just breathing. I have so many problems right now. I'm
Yeah.
so stressed out, and you tell me to breathe. Do that, because it's really, really helpful, and do the steps that Aditya um, shared with us, because they are great. I totally agree with them, and how he presented them. It's really awesome. So getting back to our interview,
Yeah.
Aditya, when did you first discover gratitude? Like, not just the concept, but actually feeling it, and really internalize it. Like, we know about, like, I don't know, different concepts like love or other concepts,
Hmm.
but we get to a certain point where we actually realize them, where we actually live them.
Hmm.
When and how did you get to that point?
Well, officially, I've been reading about gratitude in books and hearing from people for a couple of years now. You know, but the first time I was introduced to the concept of gratitude was as a child. You know, and it was through my dad and my mom. So my dad was actually from a small town, and when he was a kid, there were multiple children. Right, there are two kids, 2 sons, and 2 daughters. So 4 kids in one family. And these days, if you think about it, families have shrunk, right, in size. But
Yeah.
there were 4 families, which means that uh, middle class family in those days with limited income, had to distribute all food and resources among four kids. And so he used to tell me that when they used to come back home, the dad used to buy one bar of chocolate. Okay. And every morning the dad would give him one small piece of chocolate, to have. And if he did something good, he would get a gift as a reward. But that one piece of chocolate. And these days, he used to tell me that chocolate is so abound and it's readily available, and we were just two kids in my family. So he used to give me nuggets of advice when I was a kid to sort of remind me of the importance of gratitude. And I think that was good on my dad's part, not to drill me with a lot of theoretical information, but to share stories and help me as a kid to relate to a concept like gratitude. So that's what I sort of initially uh, heard about it. But over the years, I've read books and sort of learned about the scientific benefits of gratitude and how it changes the neurochemistry of the brain, and how it reduces stress levels and things like that. But that was the initial phase when I got to know about this wonderful concept.
That's so interesting. Yeah. Um, I'm really curious if you want to share with us, what does your tradition say about gratitude? Like, one of the reasons why I'm doing this podcast is because I feel that gratitude, like love, is something that's present in many religions, if not in every religion.
Yeah.
And I'm really curious to know how it's been taught in your view, in your tradition back in India.
Yeah, and I love this question because India as a country has so many traditions, so many different cultures, and just because you're born into one religion, it doesn't mean you're limited. And that's the beauty of India. If you look at the Indian note, you have 26 different languages in one just
Wow.
currency note. So India is literally a subcontinent, and is a amalgamation of different cultures. So even in my family, my dad is a Hindu. My mom is a Christian, and my good friend at a certain age introduced me to Buddhism. And I think that was one of the reasons why I started this podcast, because I was so fascinated by what a religion has to offer and what it's become in these. A lot of people do not like religion these days, but can connect more with spirituality. So I was really fascinated about the different traditions around the world. But to answer your question, Hinduism, there's a lot of gratitude within Hinduism. Hinduism teaches you to be grateful to your parents, and in Sanskrit it's called Matro Devo Bhavo, which means Matro means mother, Devo Bhava means is like God. Pitru Devo Bhava means dad is like God. Atiti Devo Bhava means like if there's a guest in the middle of the night comes to your home, the guest is like God, and you need to always keep food in your fridge or whatever so that you can give to the guest, because God has come into your room or
That's
your
so
house.
beautiful.
Right? So Sanskrit is laden with small nuggets of wisdom that allow you to express your gratitude whenever you get a chance. And the other thing is also, after you in ancient days, when you go and learn with a teacher, right? The teacher, you're supposed to give a gift to the teacher after the course or the teaching is complete. And so that's also another way to express your gratitude for the knowledge that the teacher has provided during those years or during those months. So gratitude is all about, as far as Hinduism is concerned, Christianity through my mom, as you know, Jesus, the Messiah, is all about compassion, forgiveness, love, and gratitude through all these parables. My mom used to take me to the church on Sundays. That's where I got exposed to the wonderful tenets and concepts of Christianity and Buddhism as well. Buddhism is all about gratitude, because if you see, there's a concept of bodhisattva in Buddhism. Have you heard about that?
Yeah, of course.
Bodhisattva, I mean, just to reiterate, is somebody who has experienced the light, has experienced the wisdom, has abundant knowledge. But instead of going to the mountains or going to the beaches to meditate or relax or whatnot, this person chooses voluntarily to sacrifice that wonderful life to stay among the people who are experiencing challenges and stress and worry to help them out. So this person experiences gratitude that has been given to him or her, but chooses to stay to help people come onto that metaphorical raft of life from the white waters of challenges. So gratitude all around.
That's so interesting, actually. We have similar experiences because, so I'm an Orthodox Christian.
Okay.
My grandma that has raised me is Roman Catholic.
Oh, okay.
And my brother, even though he is a Christian, he's been practicing yoga for quite a while, and he has taught me all kinds of things regarding Hinduism. And yeah, it's really interesting to see that we have a similar experiences regarding
Exactly.
this. And I think this is one of the reasons why we are so open about all kinds of religions and spiritual views.
Yes.
And at least in my experience, I've always tried to connect them because I think we all believe in one God, one way
Yeah.
or another. And we should see the things that we have in common between religions, not the things that tear us apart one way or another. So
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
really interesting.
So here's my thought about religion. I don't want to drift off the topic, but what I believe is religion, when it started with good intentions. Religion was spirituality for everyone, So you don't have to escape or go to a forest or somewhere. You can be with your family and still experience the beauty of the universe or beauty of that universal intelligence through religion. So I don't think religion is necessarily a bad thing. But like it all boils down to when you change the way you look at things you look at will begin to change as well. So I think religion and spirituality can coexist side by side, and it's your choice, which route you want to go.
Yeah, totally. So getting back to our topic,
Yeah.
if you would meet someone like 10 years younger than you,
Yeah.
what would you tell that younger person about gratitude?
Okay. So first of all, I would explain the person what gratitude is. That feeling, that knowing that you have that gift, that relation, that family, those friends already within you without any change. And I would request a person to maintain a journal or a diary. And every day, write 1, 2, or 3 things that he or she might be grateful for. Because I feel that thinking about gratitude is one thing, but when you write it down on a piece of paper or whatever, and I carry it over here, this journal, it has a different feeling. It helps you connect with your higher self. It helps you connect with your inner being. So that's one of the benefits, writing it down and feeling that chemistry change within your body and feeling those wonderful benefits. But the second benefit of that is this child or this teenager, after 5 years, after 10 years, after 15 years, can go back to the journal, read some of the thoughts that this person had. And especially if the person is going through a stress or challenges, realize that you've come such a far way. And whatever you're facing is just a small thing. You can easily overcome that challenge because you've gone through so much. You've gone through 15 years of challenges and change.
That's awesome because we we tend to forget. We tend to get to the next level and think,
Yeah.
and just forget how it was like 1 year ago, how we overcame a lot of the challenges and how beautiful actually life is. Because what I realized in my own experience is that for many people, so um, actually where we are uh, in most aspects of our lives is where we feel good somehow, or at least
Yeah.
comfortable.
Yeah.
And many of us are ungrateful or unhappy about the current situation, but uh, we don't actually want to change.
Yeah.
It's really interesting usually. So it's not for this doesn't work for everyone, but um, what I realized, like talking with friends or coaching people, that in fact the life that they have created is the way they wanted it to be. And
Mhm.
even if they would like it to be better in one way or another, uh, the hardest thing to do is to get out of that comfort zone, and that that good feeling somehow. It's really interesting how we work
Yeah.
as humans.
No, absolutely. I agree. The way I look at it is we at times are within what we call a zone of comfort.
Mhm.
When we stay in the zone of comfort, we are comfortable, yes, but sometimes that life tends to get very monotonous, very dreary, very boring, because everything becomes predictable. You go to work, do whatever, you make reports, come back, spend time with family, and it keeps repeating itself. Now, if you're comfortable with that, that's awesome. But every once in a while, a person comes across a situation, a magic moment, a synchronicity when life does not remain the same, like it's coming out of the matrix. And once you I think Tony Robbins calls it setting yourself up for success. Once you realize that here's the possibility for your life, once you see the opportunity, then everything shifts. And then you're not satisfied with that same monotonous life. Then you want ups and downs and ups and downs. And then challenges seem like such a wonderful opportunity because it helps you grow, helps you evolve. So, agree with that.
Yeah, they say that change is something that happens. It happens all the time, and it's not something that you can control.
Yeah.
But growth is something that we have to choose. So we
Hmm.
need to choose to grow, because change will be happening all the time, like the changes in weather and everything. Like like it's right now it's snowing here,
Yeah.
even though it's in the middle of spring, and it has never happened
And now,
before.
okay.
So yeah, it's really interesting how life changes, and how we can choose to appreciate the changes in our life and to choose to grow with them.
Yeah.
And on this, do you feel like the growth of your podcast, like to 1 million downloads, so in this process, do you feel that gratitude has helped you?
Yes. I mean, in terms of where I have reached so far, um, I've got big goals, in the next couple of months, in the next couple of years. But gratitude has played a big role as far as coming here so far. So, firstly, gratitude has ensured my health.
Mm.
And without health, I would not be here. As a podcaster, as you might agree, there are so many things that we have to do, right? So consistency is one. You need to keep getting guests. The other thing is you need to produce the show, edit it. You need to work towards the promotions, and so many different aspects of running a podcast. And if you are not healthy, you sort of will give up. So as a part of my research through my show, what I do is I study the energetic uh, body of a person. And like I've shared before, our auras that are around our physical body, you have multiple auras. You have, one is called the mental aura, you have the emotional aura, and you have the vital aura, right? And so just that knowledge that our thoughts affect our emotions, and emotions affect health, just that knowledge has kept me healthy, to avoid those negative thoughts, to avoid that stressful thoughts, and to instead have these positive thoughts. And the other thing is, gratitude has helped me look at a challenge or look at a shortcoming as an opportunity to grow. So especially in the start, when as you might expect, when you start as a podcaster, it's literally like speaking into darkness, right? Because you don't know who's listening to your show, you don't know how many downloads you're going to get, you don't know, there are so many uncertainties involved. And I sort of put myself into a challenge. I said, I'm going to do not just 5 episodes, I'm going to do at least 100 episodes, and then let's see what's going to happen. And at every occasion, I expressed gratitude. And slowly but surely, downloads trickled in. People started getting to notice the show. and just being able to affect change in such a small way at the beginning, and now in a comparatively larger way. uh, Everything is grateful.
And I think what I really love about your show is that people really appreciate it and show it. Like you have so many reviews and from all around the world, and people really appreciate it, and it's so awesome.
Absolutely. I mean, what I'm really grateful for is, the number of people who have listened to the show, and people who have been able to change the way they look at things, experience gratefulness, maybe, get a job or improve a relationship. Like we're discussing today, a lot of people are just one step away from a transformation, just one step away from greatness. And a lot of times we don't realize that we're so close to change. And just that shift, listening to one episode, listening to one of your episodes, helps that person really transform. So
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And it's awesome the fact that we get to express this, and even if those people don't realize it, their support and their gratitude made you continue and made you create an even better show. And it's really interesting the power of gratitude that's expressed. Like we can support people like you that are doing great work by just saying a few words that we appreciate. And we it's so necessary for us to, as human beings, to do this because it feels great, and also to receive this because it gives meaning to our life. And I think that this is an awesome thing that your experiencing with this.
And what's the funny thing about podcasting is, once you say what you have to say onto that audio file, right? Once you share that energy, so to speak, once you give that great gratitude or that thanks, and you put it into that audio file, it's there on the internet. Somebody can come there after 5 years, after 10 years. Your son or your grandson, maybe many years down the line, can listen to this episode or listen to some other of your episodes and feel the same emotion.
Yeah,
That's the beauty of it.
that's beautiful. That's beautiful. So what I wanted to ask you, so this will be um, to the end of our discussion.
Okay.
uh, who are you grateful for in your life? um, if you want to share some of your experiences, some of the people that have helped you be who you are today, and you're very grateful for them.
Sure. Firstly, I am really, really grateful for my parents. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here in the first place. My parents are sort of like my best friends and my coaches, so to speak. A lot of times, in some cases, you're not able to connect with your parents that well, right? In many cases. And so you share a lot of and confide things in your friends. In my case, it's different. From childhood, I've already always shared a lot of things with them, gotten their feedback. And because my dad is an entrepreneur himself, uh, I get like a really sane perspective on what I should do next in my venture and my business. So a lot of thanks to my parents. As far as the story is concerned, there was a time when I was in the 8th grade, and especially in India, 8th grade is very crucial, because 8th to the 10th is where you sort of finish school and you move on to your college, and the grades are really important. Anyway, in school, I wasn't really a good student in terms of grades. I didn't like the way they taught in class, and it's not like I didn't like studying. I loved studying. I loved general knowledge. I loved reading books and stuff like that, but I didn't like the studies. So anyway, there was a phase where one of the teachers said that, this kid has got so low grades, there's no hope for him. And I think, when teachers say something, it plays a huge role in the overall development of that kid, right? Because what she says gets stored into your subconscious memory, and years later you have a problem, you're not able to learn, and you say, why am I not able to learn? And then you don't realize, because that memory is stored in your subconscious. Anyway, so the teacher said this, but luckily my mom was there. and she took it as a determination to walk that journey with me those few months till my 10th. And so I still remember she ensured that I learned stuff. She was awake with me till like 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning. She made me tea, and she did everything possible to support me. And I passed with flying colors. I got a distinction in my
Wow.
10th overall, and it was because of the courage and the support of my mom, and as well my dad. My dad has been hugely supportive, a lot of ideas, a lot of feedback, a lot of guidance, like I said, gratefulness. So those two people, highly grateful for. Grateful for my sister, because she came to USA 2 years before I did. And so when I came to Canada, it was like a strong support system that was already there. She's 3 years younger than me, and so just having someone over here changed everything for me. So it was much more easier for me to make the transition. And third is my girlfriend. And I'm going to keep it really short over here, but you won't believe how I met my girlfriend. I believe in the law of attraction. I believe that if you write something down, if you have that dominant thought in your mind, you literally can attract whoever you want, or whatever thing you want, whether it's money, fame, or whether it's health or relationship, whatever. So I wrote down at one point that I want to attract a perfect partner or a girlfriend. I closed the book and I chanted towards that every day. One day, I finished chanting with a group of my Buddhist friends. I came down, walked down, and I literally, you know, I stumbled upon this girl who was looking for directions on Google Map, and we struck a conversation, and she's my girlfriend now.
Wow.
So hugely grateful for her, really supportive, really kind, really compassionate, and yeah, those are the people that I'm really grateful for.
This is amazing. I love your story about your girlfriend. I love the fact that you had that experience with your folks, and that they taught you gratitude.
Yeah.
Um, so thank you very much for being here with us. Where can people find you? Where can people see your work?
Sure. So my website, where I post most of my episodes and inspirational ideas, is my seven chakra. The seven, as in the word, my7chakras.com, my7chakras.com. And for your listeners, especially, I have compiled a list of top books to read if you want to evolve spiritually. So in every episode of mine, I ask my guests, what is that one book you'd like to recommend for our listeners? So if they want a top list of books to read in order to evolve spiritually, then they can go to my7chakras.com/reading list.
All right. So make sure you go there and you check out the books from Aditya. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure you subscribe and you keep in touch with me and with my amazing guests, and with gratitude, of course. Thank you very much, Aditya, for being here with us and for sharing your wisdom and your experience. It has been great. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, George, and it's been a wonderful time, and I hope you have a wonderful day ahead. Maybe in this.
Thank you. Thank you.